Well, we have indeed. Tina, she who must be obeyed, as you have seen from the last couple of days. Mark, thank you. Thank you for those kind words. I'm so happy you came to share all that with us. And thank you for your leadership at this very important time. Now, we've had a busy couple of days. I know that you're exhausted. You've been sitting too long. So I'm not going to try to rehash what we've done and what we've heard. Hopefully, you'll take those things with you. And hopefully, it'll be a dialogue, as we've said. It has been fun, I hope. It has certainly been busy. It has been challenging and quite distressing at times, but also periods of real optimism and enthusiasm out there, and that's the part that I enjoy the most. The messages that I've heard running through these debates and dialogues time and again is that those organizations that have sustainability in all its iterations and all its definitions at the heart of strategy are going to be the winners coming out of this. We know that to be true. The USP that is business in the community are those leaders that Mark talked about who are involved in our leadership teams, but it's you. It is the collective enthusiasm and wisdom and the willingness to share, to challenge each other, to inspire each other, to be the thorn in our sides, a pebble in our shoe on occasion to make sure that we keep focusing on all of these things. A couple of key words, a couple of key thoughts that came through. This idea that we heard yesterday, transparency, trust, transformation, big ideas, that we have to keep this discussion and sustainability commercial. If we don't, we're going to have a very difficult time making the sale when we go back to the ranch. Understanding the systemic risks that are lurking around the corner. We know about some of those media problems, as David was trying to take us through. Let's unpick what we think the problem is and try to understand what the real problem is. It's an opportunity if we grasp it. It's quite a big danger if we don't. And all of our businesses feel that. The challenge of bringing your supply chain along, those buzzy sessions that Joe and others led on the whole supply chain debate and challenge, it is the hardest part of what we're trying to do here. It is the most challenging because it involves the most people. And as Colin Matthews was talking about before, the more people that are in this collaboration, the more complex it gets. The more people you have to bring along, the less authority that you really have to make it all happen. The new narrative that Tony was talking about a little bit of this growth conundrum. How do we begin, and Alan as well, how do we begin to talk about this in a different way, a way that resonates in a different way with people? And how do we begin to redefine within our own organizations what success really can and should look like going forward in a resource-depleted world? Now, that's not to say that our customers and our competitors and our shareholders will allow us not to grow. We're challenged. But how do you decouple that resource growth and economic growth with resource consumption? And how do we do all that? We've talked an awful lot about leadership and collaboration. I loved that reference earlier, competere, if I say it right, the root word of competition, about striving together. What an interesting concept, what an interesting way of pulling all that together. And I guess this ultimate notion that the old rules simply don't apply. I've heard that said so many different times in ways in so many different rooms. Now, how do we take that home and do something with it? We've had really quite exciting sessions on how we treat the planet, how we manage these supply chains, how we deal with our workforces to create those inclusive, healthy, vibrant places that we know we need to be successful. And what do we do in the communities in which we live and work? How do you do it? How do you learn from the example of others, both the successes and, more often than not, some of the failures, which can be the most illuminating? We had a great session last night with the Employers Forum on reducing reoffending, and a sense that the prison service and so many other participants in this want to work alongside of business to make this happen. And some wonderful examples. It was quite exciting. And then we had a session in here last evening on the CR Index results. So what are we learning from companies who are brave enough to stand up and be counted in this space? How can we take those messages back? How can we do even better next year? How do we make sure this is a journey and not a destination? And perhaps the thing that got me the most excited was Cressy's thing right at the very beginning about appointing crazy directors, I think she referred. What a wonderful idea. We're striving for diversity in everything that we do, but we know the benefit to the organization comes from the creative diversity, the ideas diversity. And so part that's reaching out to communities and organizations we wouldn't normally deal with, but it's thinking about accessing those things in different places. So exciting stuff indeed. Prince of Wales, who is our president, an active participant in this journey. I was with him this morning. First thing, he would have loved this discussion about sustainable urbanism and where we're going, and how do we make our cities more livable. He loves Mark referred to it, the ARC program, the social enterprise work we're doing around the Olympic boroughs, but an idea that we hope that we can take beyond that space when we think about how do we create jobs, how do we use the skills and the talents that lie in your organizations, how do we create opportunities, volunteering and otherwise, to really do something quite exciting close to home. Everybody wins if we do that, and we know it. So enough of all of that. Let me just say thank you. Thank you to Mark. Thank you to Tina. Thank you to our sponsors, particularly our lead sponsor, Hitachi, our partners, UBM, who have been with us right through this thick and thin, all of our speakers and guests, and the amazing team at Business in the Community. I see some exhausted faces out there thinking, whew, when will this ever end? Thank you all for being with us on this journey. The USP, as I said, of what is the Business in the Community movement is you. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for staying with us on this journey. And safe travels home.